Hi, Islamic Dad here. If you enjoy this channel, please subscribe. It does help me out a lot. Before I get going, trigger warning, I'm going to be discussing suicide, abuse, and general insanity. So just wanted to let everyone know that. I'm going to be making a video on a rather dark aspect of narcissistic abuse, your relationships with narcissists. One that has been alluded to a lot, but never really touched on, just because I think it's such a taboo and dark topic. So, my life's been interesting, if anything. And so I've experienced and seen secondhand, thirdhand, some very disturbing things. So I'll go back to my experience with my ex-wife. Again, short version is we were married for about 19 years. The last year of that, she had a midlife crisis, decided she was 21 again, even though she was like 42, and just wanted to drink, party, and just be a general out of control party girl. Not a mother to two children, and definitely not a wife. I obviously wasn't going to have anything to do with that, so I filed for divorce. She did the usual narcissistic games and dragged the divorce out a little bit longer than it really needed to be. During that time, I was showered with all the lies and games that you would expect from a narcissist going through divorce. And after the divorce was really finalized, and actually a little bit before and going through like the separation, it was difficult to say the least. And there were games, I guess, I don't really know what else to call them, where my ex-wife would say or do things just out of pure cruelty, and add that narcissistic twist where there's like a game involved there, some like if you've experienced that, you know what I'm talking about. It's just not merely being unpleasant, but taking the time to plan out a scenario in which you can do things that will make someone miserable, and putting the time and the effort into it. And as I've done videos before, she was, what I would categorize as a malignant narcissist. Her supply is causing pain and at the very least inconvenience to other people, but mostly just, wreaking havoc with other people, seeing them in pain energizes her. She loves confrontation. She loves arguments. She loves the battle. So needless to say, going through this during the separation and, just after the divorce was finalized, was some of the darkest times of my entire life. And thankfully, I had my kids to live for, and thankfully I had therapy to talk about and work through these issues, so I didn't feel as alone, and I had someone that I could talk to with about what was happening, and they would say, yeah, that's not okay that they're doing this, and you have every right to feel outraged, and I can understand your pain. So I don't think that it is a exaggeration that she was trying to drive me to suicide. I don't think that was necessarily her main intent, but if I killed myself along the way, I don't think she would shed a tear. If anything, she would chalk that up as a win. And just out of the sheer viciousness that she expressed, and it was so much of part of her character after the midlife crisis. So I got to see that firsthand with her. We went our separate ways, and for the most part, really didn't have anything to do with each other, because something like the color of the sky would turn into a 3-hour, screaming match. It was impossible for us to discuss anything without it having to, just immediately devolving into, a battle. So, I went my way, dated, worked on redefining myself, what I wanted to do in life, trying to build that new life. She went her way, which was kind of in the opposite direction, which was party, party, party. But along the way, she met someone who, for whatever reason with their personalities, kind of matched with her. And what I mean by match, I mean like puzzle pieces, where she was able to remain in her identity as this demanding, delusional person who thinks that they're 21 years old and just wants to do drugs and party and be wild and stuff. And they had a partner who was basically a yes man, who would just agree to anything she said and really didn't have any goals of his own, didn't really have any passions or hobbies of his own. He was just like a pothead dude who just did what she said and would, play the role that she would set out for him. So I know people call that codependent. That's a whole other, video. But yeah, to me, that's not codependent. That's just dependent. So anyways, that was their relationship. And as time went forward, he moved in with her, and, more time went forward, and they were together for, I think, 3, maybe even, close to 4 years, but, 3-4 years. And, over that time, narcissists are narcissists, and narcissists get bored, and narcissists crave novelty, and narcissists can't leave a situation alone. They have to create a crisis and, basically explode everything and then leave, whatever the situation is. So what happened was, time went on. They were like living together for like 3 years, and my ex-wife, the malignant narcissist, just decided that she didn't like this situation any longer, and that she wanted to move out of the house that they both shared, and that she wanted to get a studio or a 1-bedroom that would be a very much a downsizing, but also just not make it possible for him to live with her. And then she said that outright, and just said, I'm going to get my own place. It's a 1-bedroom. There's not much room, and I'm going to live alone by myself in my new place. But I'm not breaking up with you, and I'm not ending the relationship. This is just what I want. Which, I'm sorry, I'm going to start laughing here. which, if you've ever dealt with a narcissist, you know when a narcissist says, I'm not breaking up with you, I'm not ending the relationship, I just want to do XYZ. They are breaking up with you. They are ending the relationship. I even now I don't know why narcissists can't just tell the damn truth. It's like honesty burns in their mouth or something. It's so bizarre. Anyways, back to the story. So he's caught off guard. I mean, reading between the lines, you can really tell that there was some future faking going on about their lives in the future. Maybe even marriage, definitely, living together and continuing this life into the future. And that, they had worked over the past 2 or 3 years to like really solidify and build their relationship. And then she was just like, exit, stage left. And so this caught him completely off guard. And he didn't take it well. And, a narcissist, on things like this are basically immovable objects. I mean, once a narcissist decides they want to do something really destructive, inconsiderate, and selfish, it's really basically impossible to convince them otherwise or to stop them. So she had no interest in, kind of smoothing things over or trying to, console him or, kind of, do some damage control with the way things were going with that discussion. And basically just kind of, threw down the hand grenades and exit stage left, and sped off. So, needless to say, you've got this guy who has, at that point, centered his life around her and who has moved in with her and who has, in his mind, his picture of the future is the two of them, going on with this relationship, living together and stuff. And so this is a complete, 180 to where his mind has been for like the past 2 or 3 years. And instead of having any type of discussion around that or, navigating the differences of perspective, my ex-wife, the malignant narcissist, just escapes, just dashes off. And, I can only assume that, at this point, the guy was just, already in a bad emotional state, expecting that this person who he had been with for 3 years was going to want to console him. And, even if things are going to change, that she would want him to be, happy, stable, understanding, where things are at. And instead he got the reverse, the opposite. Like she literally just abandoned him. And so you've got, abandonment, the, disillusion of the future, where the dream of like getting a house together, being together, etc., just went up in flames. And he had basically built his life around her and this future. So he, I'll try to keep it graphic. I'm sorry, not graphic, short. He went on a 1 week rampage inside the house. Not exaggerating here, to the point that the police were afraid to intervene without a SWAT team, because he was just literally tearing the inside of the house apart. He was impossible to, you know, deal with. I mean, his relatives tried talking to him on the phone. No one, people, friends or family that went over to try to like talk to him, couldn't get in the house. But they could hear things breaking and shouting and all that type of stuff. So, anyways, at the end of the week, things quiet down for the sad reason. And the police finally have the courage, police being police, to go into the house. And at that point, it's devastated. Everything's been destroyed in the house. All the drywall punctured, glass TVs, broken TVs, everywhere. Everything's broken. And without going into detail, he was deceased. And the reaction from my ex-wife, the malignant narcissist, was it was an MO that like she's done since her midlife crisis, and I don't know if other people have experienced this with their narcissists. So what happened? News got out. I mean, which came as a shock to no one. Everyone knew this was going to happen, and it did happen. And my ex-wife just collapsed into a ball of screaming emotion, just crying and wailing, basically for like a day. And everyone just kind of let her have her time. And then after that day was done, it's like it never happened. She just kind of brushed her shoulders off and was like, I'm going to get back to work. And just started working, hanging out with friends, getting back into the party girl routine as if nothing happened. And I mean, the body was not even in the grave before she was back out partying. It was kind of stunning. I mean, I again, like, there's stuff about narcissism that I'll never understand. And one is, just the complete lack of shame, where they will do something that other people would be mortified to do and would probably just pack up and leave the state if they did. And narcissists will do these outrageously horrible things and just go out in public and just wave and smile as if everything's okay. Again, it's very bizarre. So yeah, that was the situation with my malignant narcissist ex-wife. So when people allude to or do discuss from time to time about people being driven to suicide by the narcissist, that's not just hyperbole. I mean, that actually does happen. And depending on the narcissist, it may happen as collateral damage to their, craziness, or, and I would assume again, like in the case of like, especially like a malignant narcissist, it might be by design. It might be a situation where the narcissist knows a person is already at rock bottom, and the narcissist chooses to put the time and the effort to push them over the edge. And again, that does happen. So I know this video has been pretty dark. I did want to make it again because it's something that I know I haven't touched, and honestly, it's one of those things where, I haven't seen a lot on it, and I haven't read a lot on it, but we all know it does happen. So hopefully this video has been helpful. Thanks.